So here is the A1 versus the A1 Mini. Pretty big difference. A majority of my students have struggled with the decision of whether to get the A1 Mini or the A1. And now having both, I have thoughts on that. The A1 is a significant size difference. So when I saw a picture of these plates next to each other, I was shocked. I had 5 A1 Minis before I got the A1, so it was like, oh my goodness, that size difference would be huge. So here is the A1 versus the A1 Mini. Pretty big difference. But I will say that I have not needed it. So I print a lot of things that aren't clay cutters. I don't sell clay cutters anymore, and I don't make polymer clay earrings much anymore either. So I wanted the A1 separate to the cutters. I never printed on the A1 Minis and thought, man, if only I had some more room. I found that it was plenty, and the A1 Minis in comparison to other printers, like I had a Prusa Mini, I had 3 Prusa Minis before my A1s, my A1 Minis, and the speed was crazy. So something that would take 8 hours to print on the Prusa Mini was only taking 5 or 6 hours on the A1 Mini. And on a plate this size and how quickly they were printing, you can fit anywhere. My cutter designs are much bigger than the average, and I could still print anywhere from 10 to 20 cutters on this plate. So I really didn't miss the extra space on it. The biggest thing that really surprised me when I got the A1 was just how much thicker and sturdier this plate is, which makes sense, but it was really hard for me to get the tools off of here and to easily switch them. So with the A1 Minis, I would be standing there, at the height of my clay cutter business, just trying to keep the prints moving, which you would think, okay, well, why wouldn't you get a bigger plate for that? And I hear that, but it took me probably 10 times longer to get all of the prints off of this and to line it up just right, loading it back onto the print bed, than it did to do the A1 Mini. So the A1 Mini has these little notches and it slides onto there perfectly. Like, I never have to try and readjust it. I never worry about it being off the bed in such a way. It's much easier to flex than the big one, and it's cheaper. So the plates are cheaper, the printer itself is cheaper, and I just preferred to have 2 printers going instead of the one. Another thing, and I will try to insert a video, is how good the A1 Mini is at printing smaller things. A lot of the miniatures community, which I know like most people in this community aren't a part of the miniatures community, but the ones that print the little miniatures for like Warhammer or D&D or just like miniatures in general, love the A1 Mini because it is a PLA or filament printer, but it's getting the kind of results that resin printers are getting because of how fast, small, and vibration sensitive it is. So I set up an A1 Mini on one of those small like TV tray tables, and that thing was like wiggling like crazy. I hope I can get the video on here, but it printed the thing that was on it perfectly. There was no layer lines, no shifting, no issues at all. And that's the thing that I loved about the A1 Mini that I struggle with the A1. The A1 is still a fantastic printer. I'm not trying to discourage you from getting it if you want to get it. Just I want you to consider that maybe the A1 Mini is still the better printer for cutters because it is cheaper, it's a little more beginner friendly, it has a smaller footprint, and there hasn't been something that I wanted to print for my clay earrings or clay cutter business that wasn't able to print on the A1 Mini. That being said, I have had a good majority of my students opt for the A1 instead of the A1 Mini. But I just wanted to give you my thoughts and my recommendations on that because I do know so many have, had to weigh the differences. I will say, after being a part of the community, the Bambu community for so long, I definitely don't recommend the bigger Bambu printers for printing clay tools because we don't work with any other filaments besides PLA really. And those printers have the same build plate size as the A1. So you're not getting more space with them, and you don't need the like enclosure, and they tend to have more issues, I feel like, that I see than the A1 minis or the A1. So either way, more expensive doesn't necessarily mean better, and bigger doesn't necessarily mean better. So when you're considering A1 mini versus A1, I hope that you'll consider what I've shared with you as far as my experiences, and I hope it helps.